If I was to ask 100 people, at what point do you start negotiating on a new job offer, then most people would say it was right at the end of a recruitment process. But the reality is that it's much earlier than that. And when I say earlier, it's probably as soon as you meet the person who's interviewing you. Because everything that you say and everything that you do during the interview process will define what a company thinks you're worth. Yet there's one point in an interview process which can be make or break on the salary front and can even jeopardize you getting the job in the first place. And that's when somebody asks you this question. So what salary are you looking for? Because your answer to this question is crucial. Too high and you've lost the job, too low and you've sold yourself short. So in this video, I'm going to give you a simple way to answer this question so you neither jeopardize losing the job or selling yourself short again. Hello, if you're here for the first time, I'm Matt Dodgson and I'm a co-founder of Market Recruitment, and we help B2B marketers accelerate their careers, whether you're looking for a new marketing job or looking to hire into your marketing team. And while you're here, I'd recommend hitting the subscribe button below, followed by the bell so you're notified when our next video lands. Right, back to the question. So, what salary are you looking for? And before we get to that, I want to talk about the two traps people fall into when answering this question. And one of those is that they say they want a really high salary. Now, this strategy in many ways makes a lot of sense. Basically, go high and then negotiate down from there if you have to. Because the salary you start on will dictate your salary going forward. So let's try and get a really high salary to start off with. It makes sense. And it may work, but not always. Because what if it is too high? And that's where the problem starts, because most companies will simply move on to the next candidate. Why? Well, it makes them nervous that you'll jump as soon as you get offered a higher salary. And then when you turn around and say you'd accept less, you just look weak or desperate. Or the second trap is you go low. And then when they come around to offering you the job, they offer you what you said you wanted, and then you have that really awkward conversation. You know, guys, you know I said I'd wanted 50 grand. Well, I didn't really mean it because I wouldn't accept less than 60. And of course, it wasn't intentional. It was just in the heat of the moment, you came out with a figure. But the problem is that you appear to be moving the goalposts. And nobody wants somebody on their team who says one thing and actually means another. And let's not forget, who doesn't want a higher salary anyway? The world is an expensive place. Too low and you lose out. Now, some people might say, Matt, that's all good and well, but are you saying to me really that there are no negotiation on salaries? And my answer to that would be, yeah, there is definitely negotiation on salary. But often a salary negotiation can leave a bad taste in people's mouths. And as is the case with most negotiations, you have to be prepared to lose what you're negotiating for in the first place. However, what I'm aiming for with this video is to give you a strategy so that the initial offer you get blows your socks off, or at least a decent and fair offer. So that's why it's not easy. It's a really hard question to answer. Now, some people might say, don't give them a figure. Just say you're looking for what the job is paying, or just deflect the question and ask them what the role is paying. But all you'll end up doing is just being too defensive. And you really want to be as cooperative as possible in an interview. So how should you answer this question? And I'll read, first of all, how I think you should answer it, and then explain to you why I think that's the case. So Matt, what salary are you looking for? Okay, well, salary is important, but it's not the most important thing for me right now. The most important thing is finding a great company where I can make a real and true difference to their success. But money does play a part. So coming back to your question, the recruiters I've been talking to about roles have been putting me forward to jobs in the 45 to 50k bracket, and I feel comfortable with that. Now that answer may seem simple, but there's some subtle persuasion going on here. First of all, this bit. Okay, well, salary is important, but it's not the most important thing for me right now. Because this is a good personal quality to have. And it's probably true as well. It shows that actually doing great work is more valuable to you than the money alone. It shows a level of maturity. The second bit then, the most important thing is finding a great company where I can make a real difference to their success. This positions you as someone who truly cares about their output, because you're already talking about getting in there and making an impact in the job. Then the last bit, the recruiters I've been talking to about roles have been putting me forward to jobs in the 45 to 55k bracket, and I feel comfortable with that. Part of this then is sowing the seed that you're quite active in the job market. If you've ever read Robert Cialdini's book about persuasion, then you'll know that scarcity is a universal principle of persuasion. If more companies are interested in talking to you, then you become more scarce, which leads to more people thinking, crikey, this person must be really good. You're creating that scarcity. And combined with that, they then feel they need to be as competitive as they can on the bracket to get you. In effect, you're saying, I'm a wanted person, and if you really want me, then you better come back with a bloody good offer. That's obviously in a much more subtle way. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, give them a salary bracket. You're not saying you want a figure, you're giving them a salary bracket rather than tying yourself to a number. That way it gives you some room for maneuver. But just be sure to pick a range that isn't too high. The range needs to fall around the job you're interviewing for and should really start at the very minimum of what you'd even accept. So, in summary, this is definitely one of those questions you should prepare for. It doesn't always come up, but when it does, it's a real banana skin. Get the salary bracket in mind, show some maturity, and then create some scarcity, and I'm confident it will lead to a higher salary. And finally, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell so you'll be notified when our next video lands. Good luck and speak soon.